All right. Hello, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I am live here with Elliott from Make the Connection. He has a specific story on Make the Connection. So we're going to discuss what Make the Connection is, how it's helped, Elliott and share his story on this. All right. So without further ado, as you see, we got Elliott here. Go ahead and introduce yourself if you don't mind, Elliott.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Elliott Mckenzie. I am a Marine Corps combat veteran from Make the Connection. My story has been told on Make the Connection a few times, and I'm always glad to be a part of that website and that company. It's a great way for veterans to get their stories out there and for the veteran community to connect and know that there are other people just like them out there. And I'm honored to be here. So thanks for having me.
Thanks for agreeing to do this and reaching out. I'm always wanting to help out other companies that are trying to help the veteran community out there. And I didn't really know about Make the Connection before I was contacted. And for me as a veteran, I think there's a lot of stuff in here that could have helped me when I was transitioning from military to civilian. And so for me, Twitch has helped me with that transition myself by the community around us here in on my channel here. So it's kind of interesting to hear everybody else's stories and that kind of stuff like that. So there's going to be plenty of stuff on maketheconnection.net. I will share an overview video with everybody to kind of give a brief 60-second overview. So I'm going to start with that, and then we can get a little deeper in Elliott's story. All right, so this is a finding purpose 60-second video on Make the Connection, and I think it has a pretty good 60-second overview of what this is. So we're going to go ahead and play this.
I expect it to be a lot easier.
I thought it was going to be a piece of cake. I didn't know what step to take next.
I was transitioning from the military.
I was a vehicle gunner.
An avionics specialist.
I was an MP, military police.
My friends thought I could do anything.
I missed my unit, my family.
Playing with my daughter, I felt like a stranger.
I was overwhelmed.
I couldn't sleep.
I just wanted to be by myself.
I didn't have a clear sense of what to do next.
I was too proud. And then I thought, if I'm going through this, other veterans have gone through it too,
Right?
I started to open up.
And it made a huge difference.
So I reached out, and I saw that I wasn't alone.
Because before I was able to take on my next mission, I had to take on just taking care of myself.
To find
Purpose.
We are not alone. Other veterans have transitioned from the military and overcome mental health challenges. Visit maketheconnection.net.
All right, so let's start off by, how did you come across Make the Connection?
I came across Make the Connection through a friend of mine who introduced me to the website. And when I discovered the website, I found out that they were actually looking for veterans in my area to feature on the website with stories to tell. And I wanted to find a way to get my story out there. And so I contacted them, and they put me in one of their videos. And so I found out through them, through a friend of mine. As you know, a lot of the veteran community talks to each other, and a lot of word gets out around the veteran community just by word of mouth. So that's pretty much how I figured it out and got in contact with them.
Okay, yeah. So the veteran community has been fantastic, and even on Twitch, I think that's how I kind of started growing too, is having that connection with a lot of other veterans that play video games and stuff like that, along with other streamers and on that side. And it's even crazier to see, when I go to other community events, like in Seattle, there's a monthly event out there, and I meet new people out there that are on Twitch, and they turn out to be veterans themselves. So it's been awesome. It's been kind of an awesome resource there. So do you currently work for Make the Connection then?
No, I don't work for Make the Connection. I'm just one of the veterans that's featured on their website.
Okay, awesome. So do we want to share that story, your video on that you did for Make the Connection first, or do we want to go into some other questions first?
I think sharing the video might be a good idea, because it'll give people a good idea of who I am, my story, And it might even answer some of the questions before they're asked, so.
Okay, sure. So I'll go ahead and pull that video up here, and we'll watch that. That's a just under 4-minute video, and then we'll get to some of the other questions.
My name is Elliott. I served in the Marine Corps from 2003 through 2007, and I served in Iraq. My transition into civilian life was really challenging. Before I went in, I was really calm. I was relaxed. I was the type of guy who was really level-headed. And when I came home, I wasn't the same. You know how some people, they say they have a short fuse? I almost had no fuse. If I got angry for any type of reason, I would immediately just chew somebody out as if I was a drill instructor in the Marine Corps. A lot of the relationships that I had, whether they were romantic, friends, family, were all deteriorating. Me and my older brother got into an argument, which ended up turning physical. My mom comes out from her bedroom hearing this commotion, and she freaks out, not knowing what to do, ends up calling the police. That was the point in my life where I realized I had a serious issue. They took me to the VA, and I was put on the 72-hour hold, and that's when I started getting the help that I needed. I went directly to a transitional housing facility. They had counselors, they had medication, they had resources for putting a resume together if you wanted to get back into the job force. And I felt like I was becoming a member of society again. I started college in 2010. When I was in classes, sometimes I would notice my anxiety levels would rise because of the other students in the room. Going out to, like, for instance, nightclubs, if I wanted to go out with friends, crowded restaurants would give me really high levels of anxiety. Even being in traffic on the freeway, living in Los Angeles, I felt like somebody might be following me. And so it started to really have a negative impact on my ability to succeed in school. I dropped out in 2013. I knew I had issues, I knew I had PTSD, but I didn't know why. I mean, I knew it was related to combat, but I didn't know why I was reacting to certain stimuli the way that I was. So I went to the vet center in Corona, and I started seeing a counselor there. She basically educated me about what was happening in my brain so that I was able to understand why I was having the reactions that I was having. So now I could take steps towards actually fixing each individual symptom and recovering from each individual symptom so that I could learn to manage them. If you're in traffic and you notice that your anxiety level is going up, you can do breathing exercises, you can roll the windows down and get some fresh air. She knew that I loved to sing, so she said, turn on a radio station that you love or play a song that you love, sing your heart out, use your ability to do music and sing as a form of therapy, and it started to really work for me. I enroll back in school. I find a major that I actually like. I was happier. I was able to focus again. My energy levels were a lot higher. I graduated with my associate's degree in behavioral science on the dean's list from that same college. Since then, I've been going to counseling. I've been doing the therapy that the Corona Vet Center counselor mentioned. My mom definitely has noticed that I'm a lot more kind to people. Now I'm a lot more patient, and I'm more positive now than I've ever been. Take advantage of every resource that's out there. Go to the vet centers, go to the VA, get counseling.
All right. That's the end of that video from Elliott. That's his personal story on Make the Connection. So thank you, Elliott, for allowing us to share that with everybody here.
Of course. Thank you for sharing it. I've learned that sharing your story actually helps not only yourself, but other people too, because there might be somebody who's watching who's been through the same thing or something similar, and them being able to see that you're successful helps them know that they could also be successful too,
Right. So I have, after watching that video a few times now, I have come up with a couple other questions. I want to make you feel comfortable. So if there's a question that I ask that you don't feel comfortable with answering, just feel free to, pass up on it, and, no issues there. So when you first reached out, or when you first you went to the vet center to get and talk to a counselor per se, did you have to go see multiple counselors, or did the first counselor you got resolve everything? I shouldn't say resolve everything, but got you the treatment that you needed, I should say.
Yeah, so I got lucky. A lot of veterans, like you said, they end up seeing multiple counselors. I got lucky. The counselor that I ended up seeing was the first one and the last one that I saw. She was a former Marine, so her perspective was beneficial because of the fact that she also served and she also understood a lot of what I was talking about when I told her about the things that I went through in combat and what it's like to be a Marine. And so having that experience herself brought a lot of knowledge to the table and understanding to the table. So she was able to diagnose my issues pretty quickly. I think it was within about 3, maybe 4 visits at the most was when she laid out the solution for me that I ended up using that ended up changing my life. So
That's awesome to hear. So congratulations on that. There's a lot of people that I know that have been dealing with it for multiple times or for a very long time. And, they've reached out and have not had that, that right counselor, that makes the connection with them per se. Like, I think for me, I reached out once and I didn't really feel a good connection with the counselor that I talked to, dealing with, the initial, the PTSD type of, stuff there. So it kind of, for me, it made me feel a little uncomfortable on, talking about stuff that's going on when, I didn't feel 100% comfortable. So that's one of the things is just, having to go back there and find maybe the next counselor, because most VA places have multiple counselors out there. So let's see here. Make the Connection reached out to you, or you said you reached out to them through a friend?
yeah, so a friend of mine who knew about Make the Connection heard that they were looking for veterans in the Los Angeles area because the veterans that are on their websites, they get them from across the country. So the way that they operate is that they travel to different cities around the country and they look for veterans in those countries who have stories to tell. And then they cast those veterans to be in these videos and tell their stories through the Make the Connection website. So I heard that my friend heard that they were coming to LA and then told me about it and said, hey, this would be a great way for you to get your story out. You should reach out to them. So I reached out to them and I told them about my story. And I told them that I'd love to have the opportunity to be a part of their website and be one of the videos that they feature. They ended up getting in contact with me and saying that they wanted to work with me. So I ended up filming that video that you just played and things worked out great. Like I said, the video has now been seen, I believe it's over 400,000 times. 402,000 or something like that on their website and on the I think I'm not sure what platform they use I think it might be YouTube.
Yeah,
but
it's on YouTube.
So the video has been seen about 402,000 times, which I actually just found out this morning because I hadn't really been keeping track of the number of views, and I was really astonished at how many people have viewed it. And so in a nutshell, I reached out to them. Yeah.
Right. Well, that's awesome. And I'm glad that you reached out to them and then you share in your story with everybody to help everybody out. I have somebody in my chat that's asking, what are the requirements to see the counselors? Do you know that off the top of your head? From what I see on Make the Connection, I think it's just if you're already enrolled in the VA. Is that correct?
Yeah, I believe you have to be enrolled in the VA. And I believe the VA, in order to be enrolled, it requires that you have an honorable discharge. So I think that might be the only real requirement is that you have an honorable discharge and that you are eligible for VA benefits.
Okay. Yeah, I think I just posted a link in the chat, which is kind of the outcomes, which kind of outlines all the veterans that shared their experience with mental health for their May, the mental health month of May. It has you on there. It has Pauline, Bud, and Kelly on there. Kind of got their stories. So there's more videos there for that if anybody's interested in hearing in their stories. Also, it's got the information on Make the Connection and how to kind of like go through their resources that's on their website to because they have all kinds of different stories. It's not just mental health. They have some videos on there for this month, which is the LGBT Q community, that for veterans that had to come out from during the service of Don't Ask Don't Tell policy to the new policy and kind of their experiences with that. So if that would apply to anybody They have the good stuff there. Let me just pull that up on here so you can see. So it's under maketheconnection.net, life and events, experiences. They have all kinds of different things from the homelessness to jobs and employments, death of family and friends, and all kinds of stuff here to help everybody kind of make that connection and see how other people that have suffered that same aspect, share their story and how they've made it through it. I think most of the questions that I originally had were kind of answered through the video. Did you have any other like hurdles that you had to personally face, and how did you overcome them during your incident? Because it sounded like you were kind of before you reached out, you were kind of having a little bit of an altercation there.
Yeah, so the very first symptom that I noticed with my PTSD was anger. Like I said in the video, I would start to lash out at people a lot for really minor things. Like a stranger would accidentally bump into me in a grocery store or somewhere in public, and I would start screaming at them. It took almost nothing to trigger me. My fuse was extremely short, if I had a fuse at all. There was one day when I was at home and I was doing, I was getting ready for work, I think. I was getting ready for work, and my brother and I got into an argument, and the argument ended up triggering me, and I ended up getting physically violent during the altercation. I ended up actually pulling a knife from my kitchen, and I ended up throwing it at him, and we ended up getting to a fist fight, and my mom walked out into the middle of this and didn't know what to do because it's her two large sons fighting in the living room, and she's tiny. So she called the cops, and cops came, and I ended up being put in handcuffs on the back of a police car and put into the 5150 hold at the VA. So that was when it all started for me. That was like the low point where I kind of realized I really need to get some help. Something's going on with me. So that was pretty much the beginning of the end, I guess you could say, the end of my PTSD, but the beginning of my treatment and my move towards positivity with everything.
It's a lot of people don't understand what true PTSD is, and if you look at the movie industry, they portray veterans and PTSD and symptoms like that feel like very, very incorrectly. So if you could sum up what PTSD is and how it affected you in that sense, how would you do that? How would you portray it?
If I were to sit somebody down and try to teach them about what PTSD is, somebody who didn't know, what I would basically tell them is that PTSD is the way that the human brain reacts to traumatic experiences. PTSD does not only apply to combat veterans, it applies to any human being or any animal, really, that's been through any kind of traumatic experience. The example that I always like to give is a car accident, because it's really simple, really easy to understand. So you're driving on the freeway and somebody hits you really hard from behind and totals your car, and you have to get a new car. You might get injured. And then from that point on, whenever you drive on the freeway, you're really, really scared of somebody hitting you from behind. You're constantly checking your rearview mirror. Your anxiety level is shooting through the roof whenever you're on the freeway because of what happened to you in this accident. That is PTSD. That car accident is the traumatic experience that triggered the reaction of you being nervous every time you're on the freeway now. And that heightened sense of awareness that you have when you're on the freeway because you're scared about being hit again is another symptom of PTSD. Your anxiety shooting through the roof and you constantly being nervous when you're in the car, that's PTSD. So basically PTSD, the way that I was explained, it's kind of like you have to think of it like an umbrella. So PTSD is like the big umbrella on top. That's the title. And then there's all these strings hanging down from the umbrella, and each string is a different symptom. So for instance, myself, I have PTSD, and my symptoms are depression, anxiety, hyperawareness, and adrenaline addiction. So those are the four main issues that I deal with my PTSD. So PTSD comes in different forms for everybody. It depends on you and how your specific brain reacts to the traumatic experience that you went through. So PTSD is going to look different in every human being because every brain is different and everyone's going to react differently to whatever they went through. So PTSD is not going to look the same. It's going to look similar in similar cases, which is why you see certain circumstances where combat veterans who've been through similar experiences in combat, like firefights and IEDs and BB IEDs. They have similar symptoms, but it's not exactly the same. Like my group of 4 symptoms is different than any other veterans group of symptoms that they have with their PTSD and how they adapt to that PTSD. So basically, I would just say that PTSD is how the brain reacts to traumatic experiences and the reactions that occur after those traumatic experiences, so that the brain protects itself from going through that traumatic experience again.
Okay, that's awesome. Very awesome description of that. So thank you for that. I guess the next question for me would be, when you sought out the help and you started talking to your counselor, what was, if you don't mind sharing it, and you don't have to, what was the kind of the treatment plan that you went through to help get you through that?
Okay, so like I said, I got really lucky. Excuse me. This counselor was really intelligent, and she was really knowledgeable about symptoms of PTSD and then how to adapt to those symptoms. So basically what she did was she sat me down and she said, okay, write down the list of symptoms that you're experiencing. Just give me the list. However long it is, I don't care. So I wrote down the different things that I was doing. Like, for instance, I was speeding a lot on the freeway. At the time, I had probably anywhere between 10 and 15 speeding tickets that I had collected between the time that I was getting out of the Marine Corps and that time that I had met her. Because I wasn't comfortable doing 65. I was only comfortable doing 80, 90, 100 on the freeway. I was constantly working out, things like that. So I wrote down the list, and then she sat down with me and she went through the list one by one, and she explained why I was doing each thing on the list. So for instance, the speeding on the freeway thing. She said, okay, this is connected to your adrenaline addiction, which is, it ended up being a large part of what's going on with me. The depression and the adrenaline addiction were probably the biggest things that I was experiencing. So she said, what happens is when you come home from Iraq, your brain is used to having a high level of adrenaline constantly pumping through your head because you're constantly in dangerous situations when you're out on patrol. When you come back from Iraq and you're back in California and there's no combat going on, your brain is still asking to be fed that high level of adrenaline, even though you're not being fed that high level of adrenaline because you're not doing anything. That's, pumping the adrenaline to your brain. So what you're doing subconsciously is your brain is finding different ways to get that high. It's almost like a drug addict that's needing to get high off of that drug. And so you start finding creative ways to get that drug. So that's what your brain is doing. So when you're doing 95 on the freeway, your adrenaline is pumping because it's fun, it's scary, it's adrenaline, addicting. It's something that gets your adrenaline pumping because, doing 95, 100, 110 on the freeway, it's dangerous, it's exciting. So you get that adrenaline pump and your brain gets the high that it needs. And so I'm going to teach you other ways, healthy ways, to get that same adrenaline pump without having to do dangerous things like speeding on the freeway at 120 miles an hour. So she took the list and she did that exact thing with all the symptoms. So she went through the symptom, why I was doing it, why I was reacting the way that I was reacting to it, and then taught me a healthy way to get the same adrenaline pump or the same feed in a way that wasn't dangerous, that wasn't against the law, that was actually healthy, that was going to, be a positive way for me to get the adrenaline pump. And so one of the things that she told me, for example, was music. So now I'm a musician. I sing, I write songs. My debut album comes out this year. I've got 5 because a pirate is free. You are a pirate. iTunes and things like that. And so she basically said, hey, why don't you use your music as a way to get the adrenaline pump? She said, you can get adrenaline releases from performing on stage when you do concerts. She's like, do you get nervous? I said, of course I get nervous before I go on stage. She said, that's adrenaline. Use that. And then she also taught me about songwriting, and she said I could use songwriting as a form of expression. And she taught me about fitness and how I could get, an adrenaline pump from going to the gym or going for a jog. So she basically took the list, explained it to me, explained the science behind how the brain reacts and why I was doing those things, and then took the negative things that I was doing and taught me how to turn them into positive things that would make a better life for myself. So I could still get the adrenaline pump, but I could get it in a positive way.
That's awesome. That's awesome that that she was able to to do that. That's probably one of the best explanation before. One of my viewers, Phoenix, she said that she has never heard this explanation before, and it's really interesting. And also the background noises that you hear are from my alert boxes that are from a different scene there, and I can't mute them right now, so I apologize. But kudos to you for continuing through that.
Hey, it's all good.
Yeah, and Fireball said something it's so hard to talk about and yet has been explained in a very relatable way. So yeah, I mean this has been an eye-opening for me on learning kind of the hardship that you've had to to go through with your low point, and and seeing you now and listening to your story is kind of an inspiration for a lot of people, I'm sure, for trying to get out from that low point themselves, or even from not necessarily their low point, but wherever they're currently at, and they're trying to go through their own hurdles and stuff. So I had a question, and then I just had a mind blank on that. Of course, that's what I get for not writing it down when it came to my head. All right, so Fireball said, I'm really enjoying listening, and there are many things you can walk away and use to help. Yes. So let's see, let's take a quick 30-second break so I can recollect myself here.
Okay.
Because I have a couple more questions and they're on the back of my head. And so yeah, we'll take like a quick 30-second break, and then I'm also going to fix this audio in the process of this, and then we'll come right back. All right, sorry about that little break there. I had a brain fart there. The question I was going to ask him was about his music point and stuff. So Elliott, tell me about your music and how that's really helped you come over here. And maybe we can watch the music video that you mentioned.
So continuing from the story with the counselor, she suggested that I use my abilities in music as my biggest form of therapy. Because in the process of being a counselor, you get to know your patients and your clients. And so I had told her that I was, a musician since I was a little kid. I played drums in high school. I sang in high school. And singing had always been a part of my life since I was in elementary school. So like I said, she taught me how I can use singing and performing and songwriting as a form of therapy. So I basically took that advice and I launched a music career. I immediately went and saved up money and bought recording studio equipment and put a studio in my apartment. And I started recording songs. I started writing music. I started expressing myself through my own music. And then fast forward to 2017, and I was finally able to take my experiences as a combat veteran with PTSD and create a song that talked about this. At first, I only did it because I was trying to get these things off my chest and I wanted to be able to express myself. But then I had the idea of using this as not only therapy for myself, but therapy for other people as well. And so what I did was I created a song called Gunshots. And Gunshots is a song that basically talks about the sound sensitivity that a lot of veterans come home with, and that's also a symptom of PTSD. So anything that sounds like gunshots, like balloons popping, cars backfiring, doors slamming loudly, fireworks on 4th of July, things like that, things that take us back to being in those firefights and being in those situations where we're being shot at. That was one of the problems that I had. My story was pretty much that I was really sensitive to loud noises when I got home, and I was in a grocery store and I was shopping, and a family walked in, and one of the kids had a balloon. The balloon pops. I immediately go back to being in Ramadi, Iraq, in the middle of a firefight, not realizing that I'm in the middle of a grocery store ducking behind a tomato counter. And I look up, and people are looking at me like I'm some crazy guy with, issues, because I'm ducking behind this tomato counter and I'm mimicking like I have a rifle in my hands, because my body automatically went back to that muscle memory of taking cover and having a rifle in your hand. And so that experience was the video. And basically I took that experience and I took my issues with, sound sensitivity and the other stories that I've heard from other veterans. And then I reached out to another combat veteran named the Marine Rapper, and me and him put this song together, and we ended up recording a music video for it. And this was the first time that I was ever able to really talk about my experiences as a combat veteran in my music. And then that video ended up getting, I believe it has close to about 35,000 views, if not a little more now on YouTube. It's been seen all over the world. It's gotten a lot of veterans therapy, believe it or not. And so now it's not about me anymore. It's about my music being able to be therapeutic for other people. And that's one of my biggest objectives now in my music career, is to be able to be a resource of therapy for other people. So Gunshots was really when it all started. And then since then, I've released 4 other singles, which are a mix of traditional R&B, because I am an R&B singer-songwriter. So those are my roots. And so I wanted to do a mix of like inspirational military type of music combined with traditional R&B music, like the stuff that I grew up on. So the other singles that I have out are like Fight Back, which is a song that's meant to raise awareness about mental illness and motivate people to fight back against whatever mental illness or physical disability or whatever disability that they wake up with every single day. And then I have a few other singles like Ride and Kryptonite, and the one that I actually just released today, which is called Away From Here, which are traditional R&B songs. So in a nutshell, basically music was able to save my life, because using music as therapy has not only given me my life back and given me a platform to be able to tell my story, but I've gotten feedback from other people who've watched the Gunshots video or listened to Fight Back and been able to get inspiration and motivation to survive in their own lives from my story and my music and my experience.
And that's absolutely awesome. That's kind of how like Twitch has been for me, and creating a community around playing games and stuff like that, and having that the friendships that I've made through Twitch and helping me with my transition and everything. And so there's that. And I know you're not really familiar at all with Twitch at all. Is that correct?
Yeah. I'm not much of a gamer. I have a PlayStation 4, but I haven't picked up the controller in about a year.
Right. So Twitch is much more now than it used to be. Everybody kind of knows, when they hear Twitch, they think of just nothing but video games. They've transitioned from that. There's in real live streams, there's talk shows and podcasts, which is the category I put this under. There's music streams. So you can get together and do, share your music through Twitch. You can, they have a new platform or game maybe. It's called Twitch Sings, and basically it's like a karaoke thing. So you can do that too. So I'd love to kind of show you that a little bit more and get you some more information outside of this. To maybe that way you can look into that, and maybe that can help expand as well. I want to play this music video, Gunshots, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so this is a 5-minute video. So we're gonna take the 5 minutes and we're gonna watch the his music video here.
Shots fired, my station, all around my position. Oh yeah, yeah. Whoa. Training kicks in, cover, concealment. Oh yeah. Whoa. Adrenaline's pumping, heartbeats thumping. I'm in fight or flight mode. Heartbeats racing, then I get angry. Must kill the enemy. But then I realize I'm back home. Sounds like gunshots everywhere I go. Makes me wanna hit the floor, yeah. Heartbeats racing out of time, 'cause I think I'm out of time, yeah. I probably won't, but I've gotta get control tonight. Strangers looking at me like, what the hell is wrong with him? Yeah. Whoa, whoa. They don't know what I hear when I hear that sound. Yeah. I hear combat, adrenaline's pumping, heartbeats thumping. I'm in fight or flight mode. Heartbeats racing, then I get angry. Must kill the enemy. But then I realize I'm back home. Sounds like gunshots everywhere I go. Makes me wanna hit the floor, yeah. Everywhere I go, yeah. Heartbeats racing out of time. Cause I think I'm out of time, yeah. I probably won't, but I've gotta get control.
Gotta get a grip on me. I did amazing feat. Life been slippery as a veteran Marine. When you come back, no one knows the scene, but you've been through all the things that keeps you from your sleep or makes it hard to breathe when you come back. Sitting here in class, when I first heard something crash, reminded me of that blast from an enemy out in Iraq. When you come back, hearing them gunshot landing on my paws, thinking all is lost in Central Alambra, and this is killing me slowly, skipping my heartbeat, flipping out constant on all of the people who love me. So many walls that I punched in, splinters and knuckles, everyone seeming to bug me. Don't none of you touch me. Now give me my distance, all of you foes, girls say I'm different, real the fiction, how can I tell? What is the difference? Now I'm just tripping. I always revisit that time in 06 when I was with the infantry. Rockets were zipping and bullets were snapping. And when I came back, do you hear what I'm hearing?
Sounds like gunshots everywhere I go.
Gunshots
makes me wanna hit the floor. Everywhere I go, yeah. Heartbeats racing out of time. Cause I think I'm out of time, yeah. I probably won't, but I've gotta get control tonight. Shit.
Wow, that was awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot. That just listening to it takes me back. Like, it's crazy how that started as an idea and now it's a full-fledged like video with like a theme, and it's crazy thinking about it, because it's just, you know how you've probably been there where you have an idea in your head and you're thinking, I don't know how I'm going to accomplish this. And that's how it started. It started as an idea for a song. And even back then I was thinking, like, I don't know how I'm going to be able to put a song together that really fully expresses this situation. And then I was finally able to do it. And then the music video was the same thing. We were kind of sitting there chit-chatting after we finished the song, and we were both kind of like, this deserves a video, but how would we, visualize this message? And then I told him about the story with the grocery store, and he told me about some stories that he had been through, and we had both been through school and the classroom. That's where the classroom scene came up. And now it's a full-fledged video, and it worked out perfect, and it's probably the best thing that I've ever done.
That's awesome. I mean, like, it really gave me chills when I was watching it, and like, it really told the story all the way through, and it was fantastic. It was amazing.
Thank you.
And now I want to hear your other songs. So, so yeah, I mean, it was an amazing thing. I'm kind of at loss because it's just like it was so good.
That's good. That was the goal. That was the goal, because the whole team that put the video together was a lot of veterans, a lot of Marines. Like, two of the guys that were in that fire team that was in that firefight in the scene were actual combat veteran Marines as well. TMR's a Marine, I'm a Marine, and then the guy who filmed it, he's not a veteran, but he's a Army brat. So his dad was a longtime soldier, and so he was very familiar with the military culture, and he wanted to do the video for me and wanted to film it because he supports the veteran community through his father. So there was a lot of veterans involved in the process, and I think a lot of it just came out of love for our experiences and for each other and for, you know, trying to get the message out there, because like I said, half of us had been through situations like that in the video, and we understood the necessity for that type of video to get out. And so all of us combined our powers and our creativity, and we created a beast. And I'm glad that it ended up the way that it ended up, because it's been getting a lot of positive feedback. And I'm really glad to hear that you, as a combat veteran yourself, have, you know, you've seen it now and you're speechless. And that's the kind of reaction that we wanted. We wanted it to be as realistic as possible, and we wanted that message to hit hard. So I'm really glad that you are seeing that.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, seeing that the story come to place in the song and how everything just fit together was, you know, it was just amazing. And then listening to your story beforehand, before we even knew about the music side of you, and knowing how much of how that has played a role in your recovery process and everything, and now we see that, and it all brings everything together, and it's just amazing, you know, amazing for everybody on that. And you know, that's one thing that I have to say, that like veterans are so supportive of each other, and it's been, you know, I have a lot of veteran friends, you know, everybody that I served with and keep in touch with and everything like that. And those that I've met that I never met in my service, but outside, even that is, you know, is amazing, you know, being able to share each other's stories with each other and have people that, you know, can relate to, you know, what we've all been through. Combat situation, you know, is super important. And I think that's what's,
that's amazing. And that's why websites like Make the Connection are so important, because it helps bring the veteran community together, you know, through storytelling.
100%. That's what I was going with on that, is, you know, Make the Connection, bringing all these stories together for many different experiences is amazing. And now I'm, you know, it makes me want to go through and watch some other stories through that, and kind of, you know, meet other people who have gone through that experience.
Yeah.
So when did you guys release that music video?
That came out in 2017, I believe, around September, if I remember correctly. I'm not sure. The release date is on the YouTube, but I think it was September 2017. Yeah.
Okay. And since then, is that the only music video that you guys have completed? Have you thought about doing?
Yeah. So, music videos are kind of expensive, especially when you want them done at a really professional level like that one. And so the issue that I've been facing is just saving up the money for another one, because I want all of the music videos that I put out to be super professional, just like the video for Gunshots. And it's just a matter of saving up the money and, you know, holding off on, you know, different things and organizing the finances to be able to throw a couple grand or $10,000 out to get a music video done. And so that's why I haven't released any music videos since then, because at that time I actually had a lot of money in savings, and I was comfortable and I was good, and I'm still comfortable and good today, but I've had to put some money into other things in my career, like improving my recording studio and my music itself, and so the singles that I've been releasing. So I want to be able to put out more music videos for sure. Fight Back is definitely a song that I would like to get a music video done for, because that's another powerful song about fighting back against mental illness. That's, I feel like, if it can get enough views and can get enough, you know, can get out there enough, it can change a lot of people's lives around the world, and not just the veteran space like Gunshots, but everybody who has any kind of disability, mental illness. And so if I were to do another video, I definitely want to start with doing one for Fight Back. It's just a matter of, you know, saving up the money and getting it done.
Right. I can imagine how expensive the music videos and stuff like that, between the equipment and having the people's time in there, and then editing, you know, being a content creator myself here, you know, the editing of video parts it's time consuming. It's time consuming to say the least.
I think it was about, I want to say almost a month after we filmed it that we got the final cut done. And we went through probably 10 different edits of the video before we chose that one as the final version that released.
Right. And then all the other, you have so much footage that you guys have shot that you never even used inside the video itself. I know how all that goes. So That's amazing that you know, everybody was able to come together and get that music video done.
Yeah, it was a blessing. I'm really glad that I met those people and put that team together, and yeah, because you see the final product, so it was life changing for me.
You know, being a couple of my viewers in chat are asking if you've ever thought about reaching out to like a game company, like a Call of Duty franchise, and seeing if you could get like one of your songs, you know, into one of their things, because you know that's being, especially like their new Modern Warfare game they're coming out with at the end, you know, in October timeframe. But like, you know, in the future ones, maybe if you reach out to them and talk to them, maybe, you know, you can do that, and that could be, you know, one of the songs that they play during a you know, one of those times. Get the goosebumps coming in and stuff like that during a heartfelt moment, you know.
Yeah, that would actually be a huge goal of mine, is to get the video, or not the video, but to get the song in like movies. Like, I know there's a lot of military movies that are being made, in video games, in, you know, any type of situation where that type of song would be beneficial to use, like combat scenes, things like that. That would be a huge accomplishment for me. And I was actually in talks with CBS to try to get the song put onto a show that they do called SEAL Team on CBS, but it never happened, unfortunately, due to contract negotiations and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that would be a huge accomplishment for me to be able to get it put into a video game or a movie or a TV show or something like that. Because yeah, I feel like it could definitely be beneficial for situations where it's applicable, like combat scenes and things like that. Yeah.
Right. All right. Does anybody else in the audience have any other questions for Elliott? I tried to time box this for like an hour, and we're kind of at that hour point. I don't want to cut off early, but I also want to respect Elliott's time here too.
Yeah, and then I can give them all my contact info, so if they want to reach out to me afterwards, they can.
Yeah, we'll keep that off of the stream. I'll put it this way: if somebody needs to contact Elliott due to terms of service stuff, I would rather you contact me on Discord, and then I'll make sure you guys get in touch. I don't want to share any information directly on the live stream right now.
Well, I have a website they can go to, and then there's a contact form on the website.
Okay, so what's that website here?
So it's just my name. It's just ElliottMckenzie.com. So ElliottMckenzie.com. And then on there's all the information about me, the music video, all my other songs, photos, my biographic stuff, different organizations that I've worked with. And then on there's also a contact form, so you can send me an email if you want to get in contact with me.
Okay. Yep. I just posted that link in the chat there for you.
Thank you.
So I think I don't think we have any other questions right now, but I would love to, you know, maybe do another video with you again, Elliott, and you know, maybe we discuss something different. Maybe we go through more of your music type of thing.
Okay.
And we can talk more about that. Thank you so much for sharing your story and sharing your story through your music as well.
Well, thank you for having me. I've learned that the more the story gets out there, the more lives it touches. So thank you for allowing me to be able to get onto your platform and be a part of your life and tell my story through your platform. And sure. I want to say a huge thank you to Make the Connection for connecting us and making this happen. So
yeah, I want to thank them too. And I really think it's a really good resource out there. So if you're having, you know, trouble making that connection and you need to, you know, see what other people have done in their experience, it's a great place to really get some inspiration. Maybe, I don't know if that's the best word for it. Hear other people's stories and go from there. And that's off maketheconnection.net. And here's the link one more time. Do you have anything else that you would like to close off on, Elliott, before we end here?
No. I'm good.
Do you have any social media links you want me to share? Twitter, Instagram, Facebook?
Yeah, so the ones that I use the most are Facebook and Instagram. Probably Instagram is the highest number that I have and the one that I'm on the most. It's at Elliott_Mckenzie. So ELLIOTT_MCKENZIE. And then my Facebook profile, it's just facebook.com/Elliott Mckenzie 10. So the number 10, so 10.
Okay.
And then you can just send me a friend request on there and get in contact with me there as well.
Okay, I'm trying to get that in the Instagram one here linked here in chat for everybody. All right, Elliott, thank you so much again. I'm going to go ahead to a be right back screen on the stream. We're going to take a 5-minute break, and then we're going to come back with back into some gameplay.
Thank you.